Inspire.fm.
Hi, and welcome to Inspire.fm. This is Yana Marino, and you're listening to Conscious Creation. And today we have a little treat for you. I invited a man named Tony Lim in, and he has quite a journey where he literally almost lost everything and then came back from that. So, good morning, Tony.
Hey, morning.
Yeah, so thank you for coming into the studio today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, we were talking before,
right,
and you were telling me quite a marvelous journey that you've been on. So I was wondering if you could share. You were talking about how you lost a lot of money and were young and really into business and how it just suddenly left. Yeah, so what happened there?
Well, long story cut short, I've always wanted to do business because my dad is a government servant. And actually, pretty much like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I've got a richer godfather who's actually has got a house and 8 cars in his house. And you can see the difference between employment and versus, actually running a business. So since young, I really wanted to do business. And I graduated as an architect and went to practice in Singapore for 2 years. So what happened was my best friend from Malaysia went to Singapore and he wanted to set up a company in KL, construction as well. So we went to Singapore, talked to my boss, and he got me back into Malaysia.
How did he get you back into Malaysia?
Well, they had a chat, about how to, if you're interested to actually set up some business in Malaysia. And when I went back to my apartment in Singapore, that night he was asking me, "Hey, Tony, can I actually trust your boss?" And I says, "Yeah, I worked with him 2 years. We have a lot of meals, and I think he's a trustworthy man." So I says, "Yeah, you can." Okay, then he said, "Okay, you know what? I'm going to invest in the business, provided you come back to Malaysia."
Oh, fantastic.
So the next morning, I went to work as usual, and my boss called me into the office and says, "You know what? Can I trust your friend?" "Yeah, I suppose so. He's been a childhood friend for many, many years." "Okay, if I can trust him, I'll invest into the company, but you have to go back to Malaysia."
Okay.
So it's like, by default, I actually came back to Malaysia. That was in 2002.
Okay.
So,
and what business were you investing in? It was
design, interior, architecture. We did construction as well.
Okay, great.
So building related stuff. And on the second year, we actually got a very privilege to actually design something very interesting just around Lot 10. Just in front of Lot 10. It's actually a glass bubble. It's a Samsung digital media plaza.
In Kuala Lumpur.
In Kuala Lumpur. The most exciting junction in the whole Malaysia.
Yes,
Jalan
I've been
Sultan.
to Lot 10.
So it's along Jalan Sultan Ismail and Jalan Bukit Bintang. It's right at the junction. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So you were designing that?
We designed it and we actually built the thing as well.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting because I don't think anybody in Malaysia spent a lot of money and time learning how to bend glasses.
Oh, bend glass.
Bend glass, yeah.
Ah.
So we did.
Oh, that structure's yours.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it.
Okay. So what happened was when I signed the contract to actually build the thing, we know how to bend the metal, but we had no idea actually how to
bend the glass.
bend the glass. Being young, reckless at times, just adventurous, and sign a contract, no problem. But thinking back, I wouldn't do it again because if I fail, Samsung was probably going to shut me down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable. But then what happened after that?
Well, unfortunately, the person who sort of brought us the job ran away with $500,000 of the money.
Was this your friend or no? So
someone that got introduced to me.
Okay.
So I was like,
how much money did they run away with?
$500,000 ringgit.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was 27, literally broke. Don't know what to do. Lawsuits on my table. Yep.
Okay. How did you feel?
Well, obviously I felt very helpless. Of course, I teared a little bit, just so you know. That men do cry.
Yeah.
Also,
can't imagine so young and lost so much money.
Yeah,
did you lose your business too, or?
We kept the business because I wanted to carry on. One of the suppliers actually had to sell 2 properties to actually sustain his business because of this case.
Oh my goodness.
And I felt so bad about that. So I said, no, I gotta get this thing done. It's like a mission to turn things around.
How long were you in that slump, that lull?
Probably 7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
Okay.
So all my 20s is gone trying to get things right.
But you got out of it.
We got out of it, yeah. Sometime years later,
How'd you get out of it? How did you consciously create moving out of that slump where I guess a lot of people would probably feel really depressed and down, like, oh my gosh, there goes my career and all my money. How did you finally move out of it?
Well, what happened was in the first 2-3 years, I mean, I just practiced architecture, not much of a business experience. And from what I heard from successful people, all you need to do to be successful is really work really hard. So I was like doing 16, 18 hours a day. I spent like half the week sleeping in the office on the floor or on the couch or on the chair or on a table or something. There was once I remember I was working so long into the night that when I slept, I was holding a mouse on the right hand, and my left hand is actually on the keyboard.
Oh, wow.
So when I woke up, I was like, I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you get out of it? So you were working hard.
We were working really hard, and I suppose someone from upstairs, God or whatever, saw that, we are really sincere trying to turn this around. Because obviously, wherever money is lost or wherever money of people suffered is pretty much consequential, and it was not intended by you. So a little bit help and breaks came along the way. So you get spikes of extra increment of income, so you just carry on paying people over the years, just keep on paying.
So did you pay off all the debt?
Oh, just a little bit more, but pretty much everybody's happy right now.
Oh.
And yeah.
Good. And you still have the business and you're still working, yeah?
Yeah, still working, still business. Just a bit after a decade, it's about 10 years.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. And financially now you're doing very well, yes?
Well, a lot better. We stopped the construction business because it's taken a lot of time. And we concentrated on what we do best, which is actually design. And yeah, we've been making money happily for the last year and a half.
Good, yeah. And he was telling me he's traveling all over, these new places.
I'll be in Mongolia soon.
Yeah. And you're going to be doing architecture there as well.
Design and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
So if there's any of you out there that is feeling a bit like the world's kind of crashing in, someone runs off with some money, or you're not doing so well, you can get out of it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So what would you give any listeners right now that perhaps are going through some hard time right now?
Well, one thing, sometimes you got to realize that, if you really want to be successful, you're going to be tested anyways. So these are one of the challenges that you're going to go through, and if you persevere and you actually really this is something that you really want to do, and you really want to be successful in life, so just keep on going, and one foot at a time, a day at a time, and just take things as it comes. I remember there was one night I had a bad argument with my ex-girlfriend, right? Still broke at the time, working so hard. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I was shouting to the top of my lungs, alone in the office, why, really so loud that nothing's left. I just sat down and just stayed there for a couple of minutes, because you're totally exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically. But just have faith. I think the word is called faith and belief.
Yeah.
That things will be turning around eventually.
Yeah. Faith is one of the 3 keys to alignment and conscious creation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what was it besides faith that kept you going, that kept you looking up, and to finally create where you are now, which is pretty well off and happy and at peace is, I think, what you said to me earlier, yeah?
Well, I think the biggest piece of advice and some enlightenment, I would say, is actually what kept me going was wanting to do the right thing, because I knew a lot of people suffered. Phone calls were coming in. When can you pay me this? When can you pay me that? Because some people are actually their business, when they trusted me to actually go into the project, they were putting their life on the line as well. So it would be easier for me to just leave Malaysia and go back to Singapore, or because I've got an architecture degree, right? So you can practice basically anywhere in the world. But to actually stay put and just solve the biggest problem, or actually wanting to do the right thing and not just run off. It
almost sounds like that would be harder to do, but it paid off in the end, yeah? Like, it's just easier to run off. It's easier to say, okay, I'm going to run off now and not pay attention to all this that happened. But it sounds like for you, when you stayed and you worked it out, that things worked out for you in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, I do love personal development and stuff like that as well. Well, yeah, one thing that actually got me through I started going to personal development, attending a lot of courses like, Half Acre, guys like Blasinger and wherever that came to Singapore or in this region, just learn and continuously improve, read a lot, listen audios, and just keep on going. Because I remember there's a story of Lee Ka-sing. He was a laborer, very modest lifestyle, but what he consciously do every day was he reads every day after work. So that built him up. And to say that success is a destination is not pretty much true, because success is really much about being on a journey. Yeah. And it's the journey that of the person you have become at the end of the road, or the continues. It's not so much of the success. It's you sort of mold yourself into the person that's really awesome.
It really is the journey. This is also something from conscious creation. The universe is so kind that if it could, it would not pick you up from where you are and put you right where you want to be and rob you of the journey in between.
Yeah.
So I'll give like a personal example. When I was consciously creating my partner, I had been single for a while and a single mom as well, and was wondering, wow, who's going to want to date me kind of thing. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, it would be nice to have a partner. It'd be nice to have a guy in my life. And if the universe could pick me up there and put me where I am now, I would not be happy. Because I would have missed the journey and the fumbles and the funny follies that happened after that with my partner, the romantic adventure that we sort of went on before we ended up where we are now. So yeah, I agree with that it is really about the journey. Speaking of journey, when your ex-partner or that man ran off with the 500,000 ringgits, did you ever get over that?
Well, it took me a lot of years. Sometime on the 5th year after the event, I started to, invest myself in a lot of personal development. In fact, that's all the money I had. I literally invested wherever I had into self-development. I was telling my friends, look, I invested in this thing called Quantum Leap. It's about 21,000. He says, are you crazy?
Yeah.
From where you were and now you have a little bit of money and just dump it all into something like this. I want to be really better. You
weren't investing in the program. You were investing in yourself and your own education.
Exactly. And that's the best thing anyone can actually do. Don't stop growing, Then after that, I sort of forgiven the situation and the person for quite a fair bit. But they're just remnants of uneasiness, or, you're not totally at peace. So somehow I ended up being a Christian through another story. And one of the things I learned was that it's easy to just forgive and forget. But the higher learning would be to actually forgive the person and pray for the person and try to bless the person. And that would be, the person you should become. That got me in such a peace. I literally forgot all the person's name actually for quite a while. Yeah,
you were telling me earlier you actually forgot his name.
Yeah.
So whoever you are out there, it's okay.
It's really okay. And actually be glad that it's not easy to say and not easy to listen to and say that thank you for happening to me.
Yeah. So what were some of the good things that happened as a result of that?
Your emotions got so high, so low, and through the entire journey that you sort of discovered who you really are.
Yeah.
And you should be at peace with yourself, and as well as the environment and the universe and the people around you. You sort of can connect to people a lot better. Because it's all about, we're all human beings, and it's about relationship and stuff.
So it's almost like you can say you found yourself through this trial.
Yeah.
Hindsight's always 20/20. Whenever we're going through a hardship, the last thing we want to do is try to look for the blessing. It's always when we're looking back, we go, wow, if it wasn't for that guy doing that, I don't know if I would have done personal development courses, and I don't know if I would have looked for answers or found the faith or even tried to move through it. So in a way, it did make you a better person.
a way tougher person. That didn't happen.
A way tougher person. I like that. Yeah. And also, you're very jovial. You're always happy every time I see you. Yeah.
Well, actually, some people actually knows this story. It's like, it's not possible because you're like smiling and, you're joking and and how could you be that happy? That happened just less than a decade ago.
But forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Yeah. It makes you, it frees you as well.
Yeah, because when you hold grudges against someone, in a way, or you're trying to put revenge across or, whatever, you're putting out negative energy, but actually the person who's actually suffering is pretty much you yourself.
Yeah, that's what Buddha says. It says, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone, but really in the end, all you burn is yourself. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I get it. So what business are you in now? Okay,
of course, design. I stopped doing construction, and I moved also to a business which actually helps a lot of people. Bit of personal development, anti-aging, and that's where my passion is, to actually, besides going, it's easy to be successful yourself, but I always believe that you actually need to pass it on, and that is the ultimate, joy. And it's not so much the success that you have, but the ability to actually give success to other people and happiness to other people as well. That really brings you.
And you're in a business that does this.
Yes,
yeah?
Exactly.
What's the name of the business?
Well, I'm doing a new skin, and that's just beautiful. And it's a business.
Yes, and I was there to watch the demo of some of the products. Very interesting stuff. Very good.
Very impressive, cutting edge science. But more important, it's just not the products. Sometimes it's about how you can use a business model to actually help someone else.
Yeah, and I heard you when we were speaking beforehand that the business also helps train up people. So it's like a platform for people to also learn and grow, yeah? Yeah,
awesome. A lot of stuff like that. Like a lot of my personal learnings comes from attending seminars or events that was hosted by them. And you just keep on going and just bonding with people,
Okay, fantastic.
Pushing each other to be better. That's awesome.
Yeah, you even told me that you had like a mastermind almost. Like you're reading a book every month with your team at New Skin.
Yeah.
And
we have book of the month, we have got audio of the month, we've got events, we've got international speakers, really, really successful people. And some of these people are already multi-millionaire when they end up doing New Skin, because simply they wanted to pass on their message and pass on their learnings and to actually help other people become successful. I don't assume that a lot of people would actually be willing to go through the journey that I actually experienced to become successful. There are actually a lot of easier ways. The roadmap is all there, because business is all about other products or services. If both of those are good and there are systems, there are legal things being done, just do stuff like that. It's simple.
So if any of the listeners were interested in joining your business or interested in contacting you to talk to you more about your story, how can they get a hold of you? What's your email?
My email, you can actually get me to Tony Lim UTM @gmail.com. That's TonyLim UTM @gmail.com. Well, UTM actually stands for University Technology Malaysia. That's the university I actually graduate from. Just got stuck there, yeah.
Okay, Ken. Well, Tony, thank you so much for joining us on the show today and for sharing your story.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and if any of you want to contact him, you just contact him at TonyLimUTM @gmail.com.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for tuning into Inspire.fm. This is Yana Marino on Conscious Creation.
Thank you.
Happy manifesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Inspire.fm